Assalamualaikum everyone. Welcome to our new show, Unscripted on
America's Islamic Radio. I'm your host, Maria.
And I'm your host, Hanaa. And we're super excited to bring new content to you guys with this new show.
I wanted to thank you all, first of all, for making this possible. I feel like none of this, our whole promotion, getting our own show, recording the episodes, I feel like none of this would have been possible without your constant support and your desire for wanting to see us. So thank you so much. We are so nervous, but also so excited because I feel like this is going to be one of the most, well, not most, but it's going to be a pretty unique show because it's going to be from the perspective of two, I would say, young people, you know, with college students, and I feel like our unique experiences are what you will primarily see on this show, and how we experience life and our experiences that we brought to the United States with us through our parents, and how we feel like we have assimilated into the American culture with our Islamic identities.
And I think our central focus is just going to be relatability to the audience. We're going to try to be as relatable as possible because that is the focus. That is what we're going for. That's what we want other people to see it as, you know, as us connecting with other people through this platform.
We're going to be trying to showcase what it feels like to grow up primarily in the United States with parents who came from back home, but also us trying to adjust to our American culture with our parents' Islamic culture and how we've kind of like intertwined the two. Because I feel like both of us have been raised and been living in the United States from the very beginning of our lives.
Yeah, because you were born here.
Yeah. So I would say we're American entirely.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we had to like balance our Islamic identities as well as our parents' cultural identities that they brought from back home, and trying to balance and merge the two and, you know, continue living here.
Yeah. And I think like that we can start, I guess, from a fundamental, you know, platform, which is identity through your name.
Yes.
So, Maria.
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 Hold on. What is my name? So, my name is Maria, which can be pronounced however you want, but I feel like I always struggled to pronounce it, and I couldn't figure out if it's Maria or if it's Maria. And I pronounced it different based off who I was with. So when I was with my American friends or like in an American university, I pronounced it as Maria because that's how it's primarily pronounced in the United States. But when we went to Islamic school, I pronounced it as Maria because I didn't want to seem too white, because I was afraid that me being American and having an American name is too obnoxious and cannot assimilate with also being Muslim and in an Islamic school. Because I felt like being Muslim and being American are two identities that absolutely cannot merge. You know, they can't go hand in hand. I'm either Muslim and Maria, or I'm non-Muslim and I'm Maria. Like, why can't I be Muslim and Maria?
Yeah.
You know?
I feel like as you grow older, you begin to realize that it's the complete opposite of that. It's more that you have your identity as being Muslim, but you have your identity as being American, and then you intertwine the two. The two are, honestly, from the beginning, they're intertwined. From the moment you're born, you know, you're born a Muslim American.
Right.
And so you realize that, though, not when you're a kid, but as you get older, through the stages of life. You know, you go from, if you're a little kid, you know, you watch this stuff online, you watch, you know, TV shows and stuff like that. All the cartoons, I mean, you don't have anything on TV that's necessarily, like, Muslim-based, right?
Right.
In that sense. So you grow up with, like, that stuff of, you know, just watching westernized television and stuff like that. But then, as you get older, you know, you're also learning about your religion, from whether it be from teachers, your parents, you know, other friends, the Muslim community, the masjid. And then you begin to realize that you have to balance both.
Right.
You can't weigh one over the other, but honestly, it's just keeping them intertwined, because your identity here in this place, in America, is not just American, but Muslim American.
Right.
So you carry your religion with you, and it is your responsibility to make sure you are portraying yourself, you know. You don't want to wash away one identity to keep one, you know, alive. Keep one, like, up there. You know?
I think you brought up two important parts. The first one you brought up was, which let me just talk about the first one first, which is that I feel like everyone has multiple identities, and each one of those identities is equally important, and I think they all go hand in hand to make you the person who you are. So, for example, my personal, just a few of them, I have a million, but just a few of them are like, I'm a female, I am a college student, I am a Muslim, I am an American, I am also like a Bollywood fan. You know, that's an identity. I would say that's an identity. So like all of these, they're not separate. They are separate identities, but they're not like, it's not like they are.
There's no line between them.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they merge together to formulate me. Like that makes my personality. All of them working together is my personality. It's not separate. You know?
Yeah, it's not like you, one time you're American, one time you're Muslim,
Yeah.
you know, like
Yeah.
it's all you. There's only one you,
Yeah.
and all of these make up who you are. It's a layer, like it's, like if you've seen Shrek, like, you know, with the layers, it's literally what it is.
Another interesting point that you brought up was what we see on TV. So I feel like the reason a lot of kids, they have trouble merging their identities is not primarily, but one of the reasons is what you said about what they see on TV, where there isn't a lot of Muslim representation on TV, so they almost feel like that's America, and me at home with my parathas, they're like, that's different. That's not American, because I never see that on TV. You know, so they have trouble merging the two. They feel like what they see on TV with no representation, no one who looks like them, is what American is. And what they have at home is something entirely different. But as you get older, like you said, you realize that everything works together.
Yeah, like you can watch Netflix, but you can also, like, you also know that, like, okay, I'm a Muslim, like, I pray 5 times a day, you know, like, I have my responsibilities as a Muslim to God, to Allah. And I feel like you brought up that point about kids, which, like, with them watching TV and stuff like that, that raises a lot of questions then, you know, like, that's when kids start asking questions to their parents, like, okay, we do this, but, like, why don't, like, other people don't do that, you know, like, why do we do this and stuff like that, and in that case, it's important for, you know, for the elders to convey to their kids that, yes, we live in America, but we're also Muslim, you know, we're also Pakistani, we're also whatever else it is, you know, whatever other culture, religion you come from, it's, yes, we are American, but, you know, like, we have these other identities to us, you know, and then as you get older, you learn more and more about it. You know, we're older now, we're, like, almost 20, but we still are learning about our identities, we're still learning about ourselves, so I feel like it's a journey that never really ends, you just constantly learn more and more about yourself, especially because as you get older, you put yourself in different positions, in different situations, you know, you realize a new aspect you held, you know, but that never really came out before because you weren't necessarily in this situation.
And I think what's unique about our show is that we were people, which I think now in the social media and like in
tech savvy world
and movies and everything, there is slightly more representation. Like occasionally you see a scarf here. It's mostly for bad roles, but at least you see them.
At least we're there.
But I think for us, at least, there was like no one. I can't remember any Muslim in the film industry ever representing people as like a Muslim and also doing something regular. Like I never saw a female hijabi superhero. You know what I'm saying? Like the Muslim was always like some weird nun who like prayed, and that was her only role in the movie. She just prayed, made dua for people. Like that was it. Like. So it almost made it seem like Muslims have no other identity. Like, you're Muslim, great, you pray. Like, that's what you do. You don't do anything else. When in reality, they're just, like, regular people. They can be superheroes. That can be a job. That can be their main job. And then she also just prays. But I think for us, we didn't see any representation at all. Now it's slightly getting better. Still not all there. But what's unique about this show is that we struggled. We struggled to balance our identities. I at least did. And I think it took a lot for us to overcome that. And I don't think we're still there entirely.
Yeah, no, definitely.
But what this show will sort of highlight is our experiences in balancing those different identities. That's going to be the prime focus of the show.
Yeah, no, and I totally agree with you in the sense that it's I mean, don't get us wrong. We're not saying that you have two identities and, like, yeah, balance them. Like, it's easy, you know? It's a piece of cake. It's not. It's hard. You know, like, you obviously, there are times where you question certain aspects of your identity.
Oh.
I feel like it's definitely heartbreaking to think about, but, like, we do it. You know, it's a part of who we are. But I feel like with this platform, on the topic of identity, we feel like it's our responsibility to be here to talk to you guys about what being a Muslim really is, who Muslims really are. Are Muslims really what you see in the media, or are Muslims what we're going to tell you? You know, what we're going to tell you who Muslims really are. We're going to tell you about what our religion really preaches, and we want to break down all the misconceptions people have about Muslims, about our religion, about being, you know, a member of this religion called Islam. What does it mean? And at the same time, while we break down those barriers, we want to create bridges between different communities of people, because you are Muslim. Being a Muslim is one thing, but there are so many different kinds of Muslims. Muslims from different cultures, you know? So it's not just like, oh, Arabs are all Muslims, or all Muslims are Arabs, you know what I mean? Like, that's a misconception I feel like a lot of people have. We're not Arab, but we're Muslim. And so with that, we want to create bridges between those different communities of Muslims as well. And again, at the end of the day, just to be relatable, to make sense of what's going on with us, with other people, and to create, like, that connection.
That was beautiful. That was beautifully put.
Thank you.
It's just the idea is that Muslim isn't just one face. There is so many different sides to that cube. You know, it's just, there's just so many different types of Muslims. Like me, I'm not a hijabi. I guess on the street you would probably think I'm Indian, like, which is actually, you can be Indian and Muslim. That's like another whole identity.
Yeah.
Like, there's just like, it's intertwined with what we talked about earlier. It's like culture, religion, ethnicity, who you are, your personal style choices. Even the way girls wear hijab is different. How they style their hijab is different. What hijab means to them is different. For some of them, it's like a sign of modesty. For others, it's a sign of empowerment. You know, it's all different. Even one scarf, just one thing, means 20 different things for them.
Yeah. And you know? And there's like a certain, everyone practices religion differently. And we want to tell you guys, we want to, like, show you guys that it's normal, you know, like, it's, and there's no reason for anyone to be judged, for anyone to be questioned because of how they practice their religion. Because religion, yes, there is a religion. We follow Islam. We're Muslims. But everyone practices their religion differently. And that doesn't make anyone more Muslim or less Muslim than anyone else.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I feel like that's a lot of, that you see that a lot within the Muslim community of people questioning each other, but you also see it. It's interesting because when non-Muslims are exposed to Muslims, right? So they'll be exposed to a Muslim who's completely different than another Muslim, and that creates questions in their minds.
It's like, well, what is your religion?
Yeah, but but you do this, but this other person that I met who's Muslim did that. So the idea is to let them know generally what our religion preaches, but also let them know that there is disparity in how people practice their religion. But that doesn't make them, you know, any less than anyone else. And also, I feel like with this platform, what we also want to preach is, actually, I had a brain fart, you can go on.
So I think the central idea, which I feel is for Islam, for every Muslim, is like faith in one God. And the fact that he not controls, but he kind of like looks over you. And because he's looking over you, you got to make good moral decisions. Like, you cannot hurt anyone, steal, you know, you have to be nice because you feel like you're being watched by this God. And I think the reason religion was even put into place is for us humans. It's so that we go through life not harming ourselves and not harming anyone else, so that we kind of like smoothly go through life. And I think if everyone in the world sort of followed these few moral principles, which are universal. Don't steal, be nice, don't lie, blah blah blah. Just think about how smooth the world would be. You know what I'm saying? Everyone would have food, everyone would have a home. It's not like we lack homes or we lack food, but somehow still there's like people who are homeless and people who can't eat food because they don't have any. And then on the other hand, people have mansions. So I think the idea of religion and Islam, including that, is to kind of have some moral principles between humans. And as far as the rituals go, they tend to differ a little bit. So
What do you mean by that?
so what I'm trying to say is, like, some people, Muslims even, they pray a little bit differently. Like, some people don't put their hands up, some people put their hands down.
Yeah.
And in other religions, they all pray. They just might have different timings or different, like, ways of doing it. But if you think about it, all monotheistic religions primarily come down to the same point, which is they do pray to their God. And they do think he's watching over them. And they do have the same moral principles, which sort of unites us. And I love that unity. Like, that's what I love about religion and Islam and every religion, is that they unite you while having your small individual characteristics that you get to display.
Yeah, and actually, you brought up unity. That reminded me of my point that I was going to make before, which was that we want to use this platform we feel like it's our responsibility to use this platform to talk about, again, like, the identity of Muslims, because reality is that Muslims are being tortured all over the world in different places, and they're being tortured for all of the wrong reasons. Just because one Muslim person, or like a Muslim group of people did something really bad, those people are extremists. That's not what our religion preaches. And because of their actions, so many Muslims all over the world have to live in fear that, oh my God, if I see another Muslim person on the news, like, it's the end for me. Like, I don't know what other people are going to think about me. I don't know what my friends, non-Muslim friends, are going to think of my religion and stuff like that. So we want to use our voices, and talk about what we feel like the actual image of Muslims is being portrayed as, and why, like, we think it's super important for Muslims to unite in the sense so that they can help all these people all over the world in places like Palestine, Syria, China, Afghanistan, Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, Yemen, Egypt, all these countries, and many more. There are so many Muslims being displaced, being, ripped apart from their families, being killed, for, like, innocent people being killed, being starved. They don't have shelters, no sustenance at all. And it's heartbreaking, to be a Muslim 1,000 miles away, watching people of your religion going through all of this, because being punished for the fact that they're Muslim. Like, your religion should never be the reason for someone to want to kill you.
Mm-hmm.
You practicing your religion should not be a reason for you to be hated on.
Absolutely.
And it's a sad reality that we live in. Mm-hmm. But if we, work together, I feel like we definitely can make any difference. Small differences really do add up at the end of the day.
Through this show, we kind of want to unite everyone while at the same time highlighting our individualities and what it means to be us, and how uniting like that means to be human. Like, what our individual characteristics mean and how that makes us human, you know?
Yeah. Because at the end of the day, like, we want to define humanity. Like, we just want to define humanity, what we think humanity is, and we just want to preach about humanity.
Being Muslim is just another identity of humanity.
Yeah, basically.
Just one more identity.
Yeah, being Muslim, in a sense, makes us human sometimes, so...
Well, I want to thank you all for tuning in to our very first episode. It has truly been emotional, and I'm so excited to be starting this journey with you and with our viewers, and just continuing pushing forward, having new exciting episodes and guests, and Yeah,
we're really looking forward to connecting with you guys. Like she said, like Maria said, we're going to definitely have guests over and stuff like that. And hopefully we will talk about topics that you guys are interested in, you guys want to know more about. So please continue to support us.
Yes.
And we really hope you enjoyed our first show.
please don't forget to like, share, and comment. Tell us what you thought about our first episode and what you want to see going forward.
Yeah.
And tell us things you don't like either. And so we can improve.
We can work.
Yeah, since this is our very first show.
Criticism.
Yes.
So thank you so much once again. You guys were now just tuning into Unscripted on
America's Islamic Radio.
I'm your host, Hanaa.
And I'm your host, Maria.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.